scientists have been gaining a deeper understanding of comets and the level of threat they pose to planet Earth. We've long known they were out there. Even the ancients noted their periodic visits. In the 17th century, stargazers observed how some comets orbit the sun in regular intervals, like the planets. One astronomer even predicted the return of the comet now bears his name, Halley. But no one knew what they were made of or where they came from. As late as 1950, astronomers could only guess at their true nature. Fred Whipple, the father of cometary astronomy, envisioned comets as flying mountains of frozen gases, ice, dust, and dirt. He called them dirty snowballs. He theorized that as comets neared the sun, they shed dust and gas as their ice vaporized, forming their signature tails. It wasn't until the 1980s that astronomers were able to test Whipple's theories by approaching these speeding ice balls. What they discovered surprised them. In 1985, as part of the International Sun-Earth Explorer program, they flew a spacecraft loaded with sensors through a comet's tail. In 1986, the European Space Agency sent a craft called Giotto to study Comet's nucleus. The scientists feared the debris flying from Halley would destroy Giotto. It didn't. The craft not only withstood the pummeling, it sent back amazing photos of a cratered, sponge-like surface with jets of gas shooting from within. Suddenly, scientists began to wonder exactly how rock-solid comets really are. In the year 2000, they got more clues. On its approach to the sun, a comet named Linear unexpectedly blew apart. Earth and space-based telescopes captured the explosion, allowing scientists to analyze the chemical composition of the nucleus for the first time. That information, combined with data from the earlier flybys, confirmed what astronomers were beginning to suspect. Comets are not ice hard. They are surprisingly fluffy, porous, and fragile. Johns Hopkins University's Hal Weaver simulates the comet's unexpected makeup.
Okay, we're going to make one of the most primitive objects in the solar system, a cometary nucleus. These cotton balls are just barely held together. One of them just fell off. And as comets pass through the inner solar system, they get heated up. And sometimes these little cotton balls just fly off and break apart.
Comets consist primarily of chunks of water, dirt, ammonia, and carbon, molasses in this experiment. They are permeated throughout with frozen gas, what we know as dry ice. As comets near the sun, the ice vaporizes, releasing gas and dust that form the characteristic tail.
You see the ice subliming, going directly from the solid phase to the vapor phase. This is exactly what happens when a comet's going around the sun. It doesn't look like your original concept of a comet, does it? But it's a single solid object. You can see active regions on the surface bubbling up. We get activity only on specific spots for a lot of the comets. And as they fly by through the inner solar system and heat up, sometimes chunks just drop off. And sometimes we see the comet completely disintegrate.
This new knowledge about the fragility of comets may seem reassuring. How can they do much damage? But as they race through space at more than 7 miles a second, even small comets can spell disaster. Tom studies comets for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Well, they are fragile. And you could break them apart with your hands, perhaps, but they're huge. You know, they're 10 miles in diameter, and so it doesn't really matter that they're fragile. They're so big that they've got a lot of mass, and it's mass and velocity that's important when they hit.
We can't stop a comet heading toward Earth if we can't see it. But that's another mystery plaguing scientists. Where do these cosmic travelers come from? Astronomers have long observed comets emerging from deep space. To know exactly where they've been, they would need to get their hands on actual comet dust, a record of a comet's birth and its travels.
3, green board all the way across. 2, we have main engine start. 0, and liftoff of the Stardust spacecraft.
In February 1999, NASA's Stardust spacecraft began a voyage to rendezvous with a distant comet named Wild 2. Its bold mission was to collect dust from Wild 2 and return it to Earth. Nearly 4 years and 2 billion miles later, it finally caught up with its quarry. By raising a giant gel-filled petri dish, roughly 1 foot in diameter, it collected more than 1,000 samples as it sped by the comet at over 13,000 miles an hour. The mission was a remarkable success. In January 2006, 7 years after liftoff, Stardust's cargo capsule returned to Earth. The contents have been a treasure trove for scientists. They will spend years analyzing the dust, but already they've learned something surprising about these mysterious space travelers. Comets have origins similar to our Earth.
We thought comets all formed from stuff pretty far from the sun. We're finding in this comet grains that formed right next to our sun.
Born near Earth when our solar system was formed, the comet then fell into an orbit that took it far beyond. According to surprising new data from Stardust, much farther than scientists once thought.
It's not just material from our own solar system at its birth stages, but also materials from different distant stars mixed in as well. Also materials forming far from it and just sort of like passing by. It's a real grab bag of things in our galaxy.
Preserved since their birth by the deep freeze of space, comets are a record of our solar system's beginnings. Now armed with their new research into the mystery of comets, scientists can theorize about where comets come from and how they were born. The story of the comet's origins begins 4.6 billion years ago. Our solar system begins to contract into an immense disk. The disk's powerful gravity sucks masses of matter inward. Pressures and temperatures soar until the enormous dense ball ignites, its gases and matter imploding in nuclear fusion. A star, our sun, is born. Left to orbit the newborn sun is a fog of debris. The fragments careen into one another and clump together into celestial dust balls. Over millions of years, these monster clumps grow larger as they orbit the sun, until they form an array of planets, including our Earth. But some dust balls, future comets, do not merge and condense into planets. A billion or more slowly gravitate to an orbit between Neptune and Pluto, a region.
But sasa unaona ile shida sasa hata tuko nayo kubwa si hata hizi comets. Ni hizi space debris tuna create. Because unapata ni kama bwana comparison kwa hii image. So sasa hata shida kubwa ni hizi debris sasa, because by the days in a grow, as in they are seriously growing. So utapata hata asteroid is not a big scare than this, kwa sababu kwanza hizi ziko much closer. Hizi ni vitu ziko low earth orbit, hizo orbit tatu so the hata sijui mbona scientists waanze concentrate na okay, asteroid pia inaweza kuwa because the impact are diverse are severe, lakini I think this should be the first. Tunafaa kujua how to sort out hii shida ya debris, because ebu imagine tu moja ianze ile spontaneous reaction. Umesha watch Gravity? Hiyo movie ya Gravity, vile Russia huwa na blow up their own satellite alafu inaanza cause a chain reaction. So that should be the first worry, as in of what it could be nini. So as in everyone, yani kunafaa tu kuwa na a way tunaweza jua what should we do about the breeze. I think hiyo ndio the most important thing as humans.
Explorer's been hit. Explorer, do you read? Explorer, over. Explorer. Astronaut is off structure. Dr. Stone is off structure. Dr. Stone is intact. You must detach. If you don't detach, that arm's going to carry you too far. Listen to my voice. You need to focus. I'm losing visual of you. If you stay, because I won't be able to track you. You need to detach. I can't see you anymore. Do it now. I've lost visual of Dr. Stone. Do you copy?
Yes, I copy. I'm
Give me your
detached.
position.
I don't know. I'm spinning. I can't.
Record your position.
GPS is down. I can't. It's down. I can't.
Give me a visual.
I told you nothing. I see nothing.
You have a visual of Explorer.
No.
You have a visual of ISS.
No.
You need to focus. Anything. The sun and the earth. Give me coordinates.
breathe.
Give me
I can't breathe.
coordinates. Dr. Stone. You're burning oxygen. You have to sip, not gulp.
So where's home, Dr. Stone?
Lake Zurich, Illinois.
Was there somebody down there looking up, thinking about you?
I had a daughter. A little girl with brown hair. Tell her that I'm not quitting.
Na vile hizo debris zinaenda zikiongezeka. Hadi? Azitaacha zitaenda tu zikienda. So I think hata Asteroid haifai kutusumbua sana sisi kama nini yo? Impact yake ndio yuko kubwa, but you see they are far-fetched and with the technology right now we have yani kuna satellites mingi sana, they can be able to track it even from a distance. Ndio maana waliona ile ilikuwa inaitwa nini, Oumuamua. Sijui kwa ulisikia. So that's why they were able to see that hata ikikuja kubypass us, so they can be we already have too much technology to be able to track an asteroid from a distance. Shida ni ududu vitu hatuonekanagi. Kuna si kwa debris wanasemaga there are two types of debris. There's the large, zile large and they can be collected. Alafu kuna zile small, zile the grain of size. Kuna picha fulani ya huwa anasema ati iligongwa na kadebris kalikuwa atana mchele. Na unaweza ona hiyo impact iliacha, hiyo dent ya shimo iliacha hapo. So if uto tu michele tuko ka thao hivi, tuna split up hiyo kitu na hiyo kitu sasa inaanza another chain reaction. Hivyo. So you find that after a while hizo zote zitakuwa zina lose orbit, zote zitakuja zikinyesha huku down. So I think sometimes what tunakosea sana tukifikiria kuhusu asteroid, kitu unaweza manage ukiona from afar unaweza manage kuliko tujue vile tunaweza track hizi small debris. Ade? The best, okay, size go already too much, So, and we cannot stop innovation, we can't stop, so I think the best way ni kufanya, inaitwa nini? Create policies. Kukuwe na body na govern anything that is going to space. So for example, wewe unataka kulaunch kama CubeSat hivi, Kama hiyo CubeSat inaweza fanya for example something else, mimi nataka CubeSat yangu ifanye, tunakwambia bro, itabidi join up together, mtengeneze hii CubeSat ikiwe moja kubwa, iserve purpose yenu nyinyi wote wawili. Ndio sasa nasema hizo structures zinafaa kuformiwa in a way that kama for example si Elon Musk anaweka hiyo net yake hivyo. So sahi hakuna mse mwingine anafaa so hakuna mse mwingine anafaa ku provide internet na the same nini. Wanafaa ku join up na Elon Musk waseme sisi tutagawana hii profit tutakuwa na get. This is my share of profits. This is my share of contribution. So for every launch msana anatengeneza analipia service ya hii, huyu mwingine analipia service ya hizi satellites. Hivyo. Kuzikuwa ni ati ndio nasema aje, you see when we put those rules in place, one, it throw out the fact that we're in competition, and two, it keep everyone safe. Hiyo ndio naonaga inasaidia, but it may not make sense. Kwa sababu unaona at the end of the day hizi vitu zote zita grow. Yani kutakuwa na a lot of junk, How will we ever stop? Does it stop aje?
Times 20.
Ati?
Na koja zingine ya 700.
Ati nini yo? Mimi? Hakuna kitu na play.
Nilipea nini umesema?
Si mimi na play.
Mama iko tuendelea. 700 milioni.
Si mimi, hakuna kitu na play hapa kwangu.
Hiyo ni juice.
Hapana.
Naona ni juice
yangu.
Ni nani alienda kulipa?
Si zaidi yako una play?
Iko nyingi sana.
Oh. Ni David. David sema.
Poa.
Oh.
Yeah, nakusikia. Poa. Asante. Mmeanza saa hii tu? Oh, okay.
Yes, repair. Sasa cottages repair.
Asante.
Yaje David.
Poa.
Ni close.
So David ulijoin saa ngapi? Tulikuwa tumefika wapi ukijoin?
Mimi nilikuwa nasikia tu mkiongelea kuhusu mambo ya kelele.
Ni kwako kuna nini? Ni kwako kuna wasi wanaongea hapo nyuma.
Okay.
Anyway, ni sawa. Anyway, it's okay. So ndio nilikuwa nasema the most important thing hata si asteroids. Mimi naonaga hizi vitu tuna launch kama kila siku hivi hizi satellites mara watu wametuma nini, though there is no way to stop them because the world is growing in a very fast rate, but there needs to be a control. That's all I'm saying, because itafika place hata tushindwe kwenda hiyo space juu tumeshajifungia huku down. Naget. So asteroid in terms of vile inafaa ati tunafaa kuimonitor hiyo haifai kuwa as in, because we already have that technology that monitors those things na zinaweza detect ikiwa mbali sana. Sasa tunafaa kuwa concerned about this hizi debris wa tuna create huku. Umesikia kirocket kimelaunchiwa inaenda inaacha stage 2 huko juu, vitu kama hizo. Yeah. Nini yo? Alternatively, that's also another option. That also can be an idea. Ama kila mtu aambiwe ati nini kile una launch iko na a lifespan ya 1 year hivi. After 1 year you burn it. Si ndio nasema aje, unaona vile hiyo moja tu ilirudi kukuwe na sheria itasema once whatever you have launched finishes 1 year, kila kitu kwenda lifespan ya 1 year, ikiisha 1 year unairudisha chini na burn up ikiingia a controlled burn up na kama iko high earth orbit inakuwa ina lose orbit outside, isirudi ndani, inakuwa disposed outside, not inside. Juu unaona as long as hakuna mechanism ya kutake care of those debris very soon tutakuwa na issue. Nakwambia tutajifungia huku ndani, hatutaweza tu, kwa sababu si unakumbuka ile launch ya SpaceX walikuwa nasema ni SpaceX ama ni Rocket Labs, kumbuki kuna launch fulani hiyo rocket ilimiss nini by inches, ilimiss Starlink satellites na with very few inches.
Ni Rocket Lab.
Ilikuwa Rocket Lab
ilikuwa Rocket Lab, yeah.
So imagine sasa assuming assuming tungekuwa the year 2021 ama 2030 ama kitu kama hiyo, hata hiyo kulaunch ni ngumu kwa sababu yani there's so much debris around and there's so much there's a huge network of things going around the earth hata tuwezi toka. With time we shall ground ourselves here. Sijui kama mnaona hivyo. Hivyo tu tutashinda kutoka, itafika place mnaambia bungo jeni kwanza to create space mahali. Na sasa unajua shida ni hakuna vile unaweza stop hizi vitu from going around the earth, as in they are in a constant movement. Si ati ni kitu iko fixed. Na okay, zile vitu ziko fixed zinakuwaga high earth orbit, zile zinakuwaga geostationary kabisa, ziko high earth orbit. Lakini anything in low earth orbit which sasa inatuguza sisi sasa directly, it's in constant motion. So mtakuwa mnaambiwa you can only launch maybe once a year. So I think it's in a way it's very important. It's very important to focus as a species to angalia how can we save ourselves. Hii picha inaonyeshana vile hizo debris zinaweza the red dots zinaonyesha hiyo vile ziki break up vile zitakuwa zina multiply ndani. Juu moja inapatana kingine ina split, ingine hivyo. With time hakuna kutoka taitoka. Mimi naona regulation hata si clean up. Tunaona hii clean up, the best way tunaweza fanya hii clean up ni ku make sure hizi vitu zote zimeingia earth, kukuwe na mechanism all of them will be returned to earth, ziburn up kwa atmosphere. That's the only best clean up. Kwa sababu hawezi ukilaunch ati tuseme mna launch kirocket kiende kicollect hizi debris one, hiyo rocket lazima ikuwe kubwa sana to collect all this rubbish alafu tu the bigger it is the more expensive the launch is. So unless we find as in a collection ama any company that does space exploration, waambiwe ndio watakuwa wanachangia for the clean up, ndio watu wakue waambie after 5 years wanaambiwa you have to make sure you don't launch, and in that 5th year mna launch nyinyi wote mna come up mnatengeneza kirocket moja kitenda ki clean up kila kitu, kiokota hizo vitu zote kirudisha. Otherwise hapa naona with time itakuwa hard, space travel itakuwa very hard. So in terms of debris in terms of asteroid, maybe I'm not worried of an asteroid than our own undoing. The same way huku chini huku kwetu, the same way rubbish tusumbua. Kama me personally siwezi dump rubbish vizuri, why should I complain after 2 years takataka imejaa hapo? I think it's the same way. So if there's a regulation to start with, you can't dump here, you can only dump there. Your regulation ikiwekwa tuseme if it's a certain project you have to cost share hivyo, because at the end of the day these things are to benefit all of us. So anyway, that's what I think anyway. Well, David, unafikiria aje?
Actually ni problem ingine kubwa sana mbaya. Alafu hata nilikuwa na question. Halo, ninauliza. Halo?
Yeah.
Halo? Mnanisikia sawa? So nilikuwa nasikia kuna kitu fulani hapa around 2029 hapo. Kutakuwa na kitu yenye itaanguka I think. Na NASA walikuwa wamepeana jina fulani, nimeshasahau hiyo jina. Sijui kama hiyo ni bado tena ni asteroid ama
itakuwa inafanya nini?
Itakuja kuanguka hapa kwa Earth na inaweza anguka. Kwanza ilikuwa inasemekana inaweza anguka either China ama US. Kitu kingine tu kubwa imetoka hizo area za Pluto. Sijui kama ni asteroid, siko sure. Kuna jina tu walipatia. Kuna jina tu specific walipatia hiyo kitu. Sijui kama umeisikia hiyo.
Ile nilikuwa nasikia ilikuwa asteroid na ili bypass Earth vizuri sana. Ili miss Earth.
Ili bypass.
Ile mimi nilikuwa najua.
Okay.
So sijasikia kitu kingine. Not unless kama kitu kama hiyo.
Okay.
Sijasikia ile nilikuwa najua ili bypass.
Okay.
So kitu NASA wanataka kujaribu, I think in a few coming years wanataka kuona kama wanaweza fanya Ati ya nini? Hebu share screen yako tuone. Ati inaitwa nini spelling? APO? Acha tuisome kwa NASA. Wikipedia ni ya kila mtu. The near-Earth object that was posed to slight risk of impacting Earth in the year 2068, but now the radar observations has ruled out. After discovery in 2004, asteroid that has been identified as the most hazardous, but the impact assessment changed as astronomers tracked that, and its orbit became better determined. Now the results from the radar observation combined with the precise object analysis have helped to conclude that there is no risk of apophis impacting our planet for at least a century. Hiyo iko mbali hiyo. Hiyo iko saidi yetu. Itatuhepa. Anyway,
hiyo iko mbali, si ndio? Inaonekana ni kama iko mbali yenyewe.
Iko mbali na hata haitatufikia. Orbits ziko different.
Okay.
So, yeah. Ndio nasema unaona kama vile sasa hivi wamedetect hiyo asteroid kudetect haina shida. As in hizo we already have that technology ya kuget hizo stuff My worry is utu debris easy debris azionekani easy. Hiyo ndio inanisumbua akili. But anyway, maybe there's ama hata kukwena mmoja yetu tu form kikampani ya Space Clean. Ndio unaona hiyo ndio itakuwa the most profitable company. Ukuja hapa
by the way unasema kweli.
Idea tu itaweza ku clean hii space tu vizuri. Ati there's no worry about debris. You'll be one profitable company. Na unaambia kila company for every launch unatulipa.
Yeah, kabisa.
Cleaning for you afterwards. Vile tu data huku kuna wasewa kubeba takataka hivyo tunawalipa ka tuso hivi. The same way kwa tuna company independent kabisa yenye itakuwa inafanya hiyo space cleaning. So I think hiyo ndio inaweza saidia. But what is an effective way to clean? What is an effective way to clean? To clean debris. That's the hardest question.
I think people hawajaanza ku think in those dimension. Ndio maana wajaanza ku think no kama sababu leo umethink kabisa umeproject kabisa ukaona what if kila nchi kama sasa hivi zina race kila mtu arushe huko yake huko juu ita create hizo debris. So it's something inafaa iangaliwe sana, lakini vile mimi naona inabidi of which lazima mpaka hata mimi nikae chini nianze kufikiria.
Hebu fikiria, hebu unda company tu ya with space cleaning, space vacuum, au kitu kama hiyo. By the way, history inaweza kaa simple maybe okay, tuseme NASA, I'm sure kuna department ya NASA inaangalia history deeply. Because hawezi niambia kuna watu tu wamekaa chini haoni hizi vitu zikigrow.
Ni kweli.
There's somebody who is watching these things grow. Na unaona zile maneuvers ISU, si unajua ISU huwa inakuwa maneuver every time to avoid collision. So walikuwa nasema kama like 10 years ago walikuwa na move kama mara 2 kwa wiki hivyo. Siku hizi nikaa kila siku. Imagine. No, unaona size ya IS. Hebu imagine sasa with that size you have to maneuver through debris every day. Haya, huyo ni Richard Branson, ndio hiyo 10th July anaenda, ni 10th ama 20th anaenda space, ataacha takataka zingine huko juu. Huyu msee wa Amazon pia aende aache zake huko juu. So ile nakwambia ule mzee atakaa chini akuje hapo na a very good effective way ya ku clean space. That guy will be bloody rich. Bloody rich.